Hello, everyone. I'm Dijon,
I'm Ira.
And I'm Bree.
and welcome to the Mustardcast, the podcast about the art of storytelling and how it's used across different mediums. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see our channel grow, and to click the notification bell so that you're notified when we post. As always, free Palestine. So, what cartoons have you been watching lately, Bree?
That's a very good question. I haven't really been watching any cartoons. College just started back up, so
Mm.
I don't have that much free time at the moment. And there's not many cartoons that are out right now that I'm kind of like interested in. I feel like I have a watch list. I just gotta go like check it out. I forget.
Gotta watch Dan to Dan.
I should watch Dan to Dan, especially since they're coming out with like what, another season.
It's already out. It's happening. It's like halfway
It's
through.
out. Oh my
Oh,
god.
they're halfway through the season.
Whoa, whoa.
So you better catch up.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm losing track of time.
Feel it.
How about you, Lyra?
See, well, Dan to Dan, as previously discussed, which has been good. I still haven't watched the newest episode yet, but it's on my docket. I'll probably watch it tonight and whatever else has come out in that time. So, Dan to Dan. What else? There was something else actually that I was watching recently. I can't remember. I think it was just like a cartoon. Knowing myself, it's probably like Jimmy Neutron or something. Yeah, it was Jimmy Neutron, as a matter of fact. I've been doing like a pseudo rewatch of just like a couple episodes every now and again. I forgot how insane that show was, low-key. It's a little silly. And I don't remember it looking. I won't say ugly because it's not ugly, but it's like it doesn't look like what I remember it
It's
looking
CGI,
like when I was a
so
kid.
it's aged.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't age very well, which is unfortunate because the show itself is actually really good. It's just the dated CGI like really holds it back. It's unfortunate, but it's a fun watch. Other than that, though, I don't think I've really been on anything. All the stuff that I want to watch is not out yet, so yeah.
Yeah, for me, still watching Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes alongside Blind Wave. I finished my rewatch, and now I'm just waiting for them to finish it up. And they're going to be starting something new soon, and hopefully it's Ben 10. I voted for Ben 10 on their poll on Patreon, so hopefully Ben 10 Alien or Ultimate Alien wins, because I rewatched OG Ben 10 and Alien Force alongside them, and then they watched like two shows since then. I'm like, Ultimate Alien needs to win a poll. They need to finish it. Also watching Batman Beyond alongside them and doing my own rewatch separately. And I'm towards the end of season 2 of 3. And I'm also watching One Piece alongside them every Saturday, and that's great. One Piece is great. I experienced the most recent One Piece meme firsthand, where there's been a bunch of memes about like things happening at the pace of One Piece lately, and I experienced it firsthand. Where it was so funny when it happened. They showed Luffy at like 10 different angles, and then they cut to the like commercial break thing, and then it came back and they did it again, and I was like, this is insane.
That's insane.
Ah, man, I'm so glad most anime aren't like this anymore, except One Piece. One Piece is still like that. One Piece has not aged with the times. One Piece still makes episodes like it's still 1999 when it first started airing. They need to get their shit together.
Little charms.
But moving on to, I guess sticking on to what we all been watching. I don't know if you've seen it, Ira, but K-pop Demon Hunter. I watched it recently. And I was pretty excited for this movie ever since I saw the first trailer. But when it released, I didn't watch it immediately like I planned. I don't quite remember what got in the way, but a little over a week ago when I was hanging out with a friend, I decided, you know what? I should finally watch this movie. And it was good. It was great. It's real popular for a reason. You know, beautiful animation by Sony Pictures Animation. This is the same studio behind Spider-Verse. It has a very simple but fun story and good music, of course. I'm not big on K-pop, but I've definitely been listening to a few songs from the movie on YouTube Music. Specifically, What It Sounds Like, Free, and of course Golden, which is the biggest song from the movie itself. I don't know if it's a hot take or not, but I don't like Takedown. It's my least favorite song. Um,
Mm.
a part of the reason I'm not a big fan of K-pop is because I don't like the way they rap. It's too poppy for me. Um, and Takedown is very rap heavy, so not the biggest fan of that song. But Brie, I know you've seen it. What do you think?
So I'm also like not super into K-pop, but I do listen to some songs. Like there are some underground artists and like some regular like well-known artists that I listen to, but like only like a few songs. Like I don't know what a bias is and all that. So like when they released the trailer for K-pop Demon Hunters, I was a bit skeptical. I was like, oh, another movie where it's not going to be as good or it's like a cash grab kind of thing. Because a lot of the movies they've been releasing hasn't been like great. Him, Lilo and Stitch. But
Mhm.
so I watched it like a month ago, I think. I think. But it was me, a friend, and then someone else, and we were watching in the living room. And I was like, low key, the music kind of goes hard, and the animation is great. I didn't expect the story to be what it was. I didn't know what to expect at all, honestly. I was just an outside hater. But I will say there are some like questions I have left over after watching it. And like things were like very fast paced, but like it's good for what it is. Like it's like a good sit down and watch with friends.
You know, K-pop Demon Hunters is now Netflix's most watched movie, and it's the first film to have 4 songs in the Billboard Top 100's top 10. So we can definitely expect to see a sequel at the very least, if not much more than that. So, like you said, there was some unanswered questions in the movie. Some of it regarding like parentage and stuff that I'm sure they'll get into in a sequel. Um,
Mm-hmm.
did you manage to check it out on your?
I didn't. I'm probably gonna watch it soon, within the next couple days, whenever I watch Dawn to Dawn or like catch up on it. But I have heard very good things. Have been recommended it very much so. So I'm like, now I have to watch it.
Yeah, it's really good. I
Yeah.
thoroughly enjoyed it. Wait, who's your favorite character, Tisha?
Main character. Well,
I knew you would
yeah,
say that.
was it? Yeah, I think it was. She was my main. She was my favorite character. See, there's a different question that has a different answer, but I like that redhead girl for a different reason. But in
I
terms
like
of
her too. I like the two side characters.
in terms of just she was the main character. She had the most just attention in general, so it's easy for her to just I like her the most because we got to know her the most. Hopefully, we get more of the other two characters in a sequel because this is undoubtedly getting a sequel.
That's how I feel about the other Saja boys too.
No, I think they're dead and gone. I don't think they're coming
What?
back.
I liked some of them. I liked Baby Saja because I didn't expect him to be what he was.
Maybe they will because a big part of this movie is the fact that it's very much catering towards the female gaze, um,
Yeah.
especially with the Soldier Boys. So maybe they will flesh those characters out for that sake, because that
Hmm.
definitely is part of the movie's appeal. So I imagine they probably want to do something similar in the second one. But in terms of a bit of animation news, uh, there was a trailer for Jujutsu Kaisen season 3, um,
Mm.
and including the upcoming season 3, JJK probably has like at max 3 seasons left in it, and that's assuming that they don't, you know, make a movie out of it like they've been doing with a lot of anime lately. Like
Mm.
in a couple weeks, the Infinity Castle movie for Demon Slayer comes out. And I'm excited for that. Demon Slayer's animation, so good, so good. I'm excited to
Mm.
see that. There's a reason why they've been turning them into movies because they're probably so expensive to make as a show. So they're like, let's just finish this show off with a movie because this, I don't know if there's going to be another season or if they're just going to do another movie after this one because they're at the very end of the story. I've read the entirety of the manga. They're at the end. Jujutsu Kaisen, relatively short. It ended last year sometime, I think. Or earlier this year. I can't remember.
I thought
It
the
feels
anime ended.
it feels like a
Oh
long
my
time
god.
ago, but yeah, it does feel like a long time ago. But I'm pretty sure it wasn't that long ago that Jujutsu Kaisen ended proper. But yeah, it's probably got like after this season at least 2 more. Honestly, it could just be 1 more. I might be
Did
over.
you enjoy the ending?
Yeah, the ending was fun. Um,
Okay.
I don't get people's dislike of the ending. I feel like in comparison to I feel like a lot of anime, especially, it's a pretty good ending. Especially since the show didn't drag on, it kind of just got to the point. It did what it needed to do and got out. It didn't linger forever and try to stay around forever like it was trying to be the next like Naruto or One Piece or Bleach or something like that. It kind of just was like, okay, well, I'm gonna tell a good story. We're gonna get out. It's like a longer series relatively comparison to like other things, but it's nowhere near as long as some other big anime. So I feel like it's the perfect length. But yeah, I like Jujutsu Kaisen. Have either of you watched any of it or read any of it?
I have actually. I need to pick it back up. I stopped, I think, right before Yuji met the one guy, the guy with the emo bangs. I can't remember his name to save my life ever.
That's where season 3 is beginning.
Really?
Or that's the beginning of that story arc. Is where season 3 is beginning. And I was about to say something. Oh, the artist for Jujutsu Kaisen is good, but he does the thing that happens in manga every now and again where his action's confusing. And I'm always like, oh, this is gonna look so good when it's animated and I can understand what's happening. Because Mappa's been doing a good job with the fight scenes. Fight scenes in Jujutsu Kaisen have been great. And reading it, I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Also, Jujutsu Kaisen is just known for having an unnecessarily confusing power system. And they introduce a character with one of the most unnecessarily complicated powers in any anime I've ever watched in this next arc that's coming up. And I'm very interested to see how they handle it because it's weird. But yeah, I'm excited for season 3, which I think comes out in like January. And so does season 2 of Frieren, which I never hopped into the manga. So I think I'm going to hop into the manga of Frieren after season 2 and pick up where it leaves off in season 2. The Frieren's real good. If any of you have watched Frieren, watch Frieren. It's such a good, just a feel-good series of, it's called Beyond Journey's End because it's about an elf whose, entire party of adventurers passed away because, she lives forever, basically. And now she is starting to kind of discover her humanity because she's very much elves in general in this world. Not all of them, actually, but her in particular is very kind of like robotic person. And she wasn't very personable with her friends before they passed. And now that they've passed, she's starting to realize
She's like, oh dang.
yeah, maybe she should have been. So now the story is about her going on another adventure with a new crew of people to go and talk to one of her dead friends in the afterlife. Not in the afterlife, but like going to like a place where she can talk to dead people. And that's the journey. And it's so good. It's real good. You should check it out.
I'm a sucker for a plot like that, I fear.
I've been wanting to watch it. I've only know what goes on through like context and like clips on YouTube, but like I get emotional easy and I don't want to cry all the time, so that's why I haven't watched it.
Same.
That's the only thing that's keeping me, but it is good from what I've seen. Like it's really good.
Mm.
It's really fun. The first season ends with a tournament arc, which felt random as hell, but it's really good. And you wouldn't expect a show like this to have a tournament arc because it's not. There's a decent amount of action, but it's not like the focus necessarily.
Makes sense.
So for it to end with a tournament arc was really funny, but it was very good. And me and Era. I'm thinking Ira from Dandadan because
from listen,
because what I was about to say is that
what
me and you when we recorded on a Sunday talked about Dandadan. Spoiler field since it was just us two, so that will be the next section of this. But what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, I think that's why I'm so fond of her, despite her many flaws. We have a similar name, so that's my roll dog. That's twin.
So, me and you have both been watching Dandadan season 2 and are fully caught up for the most part. And I thought it would be a good chance for us to finally give our spoiler-filled thoughts on it, since it's just us recording this section of the podcast. Mm-hmm. So, what have you been thinking of season 2 so far?
I've been really liking it. Like, season 1 was definitely very strong, but I think Dandadan has that, like, that sort of thing where it's like, you know how season 2 of an anime is usually a little better than season 1 because like, you know, they've settled in, they've got their like chops up. I think Dandadan is having that sort of moment because like I found myself enjoying the moments in this season a lot more. And also, I feel like they've toned down the perversion a little bit, which I kind of enjoy. Not to say that it was like egregiously bad in season 1, but like now it seems to like serve more of a narrative purpose when it's done, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
I don't know. I don't feel like it was really done that much in the first season. The only moment was like when they had to get naked to swim faster. But even then,
Yeah.
I was talking to someone a couple days ago about how when they did that, most anime would have like actively went out their way to try and like put the girls in compromising positions, like to try and show
Mm.
off their bodies. But after they got naked, they actually like actively went out their way to hide their bodies the entire time and didn't even try to show it off. I don't know if it's that way in the manga or
Mm.
not, but they at least did that in the anime. So it feels like, and then of course that just led to a joke. So I feel like whenever it was done for a very specific joke that wasn't done necessarily to over sexualize the characters. Technically,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was
totally.
quite literally done for a sex joke, but not a sex joke that was meant to be like weird and creepy towards the kids.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Which is refreshing because we used to be in the trenches when it
Yeah,
came to jokes like
you can
that,
tell that
honestly.
the creators, that younger creators are making anime and manga now because they actively go out of their way to avoid those tropes now.
Mm-hmm. Let me think. What else? What other thoughts do I have? If I had to pick a favorite episode from the ones that I've watched so far, honestly, I really liked the one where they gave Ira and why am I blanking on her name? She's literally the main character. Girl, help.
Mama.
Momo, yeah, they had some like got time to talk one on one and like have a little bit more development in their relationship, and I really appreciated that. Doubly so because like I feel like Ira is a very fascinating character, but we like I want to see more of her, but more of her interacting with like Momo and like everyone else one on one rather than in like the group settings that we've been seeing. So that was really nice. That was really refreshing too.
Yeah, that was really cool. Seeing those two characters kind of like, there's still that rivalry there, but they're friends first and foremost, and that's fun to see.
Right. Yeah.
It was also there was what episode was it? I think it was episode 6 where they had the Hayashi and they had
Hmm.
that awesome metal song that played like toward
That was
the end of the
sick.
episode, that rock song. It was really cool. And I
Hmm.
heard somebody say that the person who sung the song, the vocalist for that song, was the lead singer for Dragon Force.
Oh wow.
And I was like, that's cool. I listened to a lot of Dragon Force, and I was like, that's sick. Because I heard the voice, and I was like,
Yeah.
that voice sounds familiar. And I was like, no, it couldn't possibly be.
Hmm.
But then I heard somebody say like, yeah, no, it was.
That's super cool.
Yeah, that song was awesome. I've been listening to that song just outside of the show itself. It's really great. And
Real.
of course, the animation by Science Saru continues to be great.
Of course. Of
I
course.
can't say that I necessarily like this season more than the first. Again, it feels like just a continuation, like they're one season, like they're kind of meant to be. So it's hard for me to really
Mm.
even divide them like that. But I think so far, you know, now I'm thinking because I'm starting to remember the actual episodes from season 1. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I am liking season 2 more. Maybe, you know what? Maybe I am
Yeah,
with
it's
you
just
on
like
that.
the pacing feels a little better, you know, like everyone's dynamic is like set up really well. And honestly, like I like that this season had a lot of moments that like they kind of smacked of like Studio Trigger animation, and they like really leaned into, despite it being a little more serious, like they really leaned into how like I guess not goofy, but like how silly you can get with animation while still keeping the tone the same. And I thought that experimentation was really really cool.
Yeah, and there's a lot more like character moments of just characters, um, kind of like meaningful character interactions this season
Mhm.
that really push their relationships forward, that make
For sure.
this season feel stronger. Now that I'm like looking at the episodes from both and like comparing them, I'm like, yeah, I think those moments really help make this season feel stronger.
Mhm.
Especially
Mhm.
seeing more moments with between Momo and Okarun and
Yes.
their budding romance, which you're just rooting for them the whole time. Like
I was going to say
not at any moment are you like, no, I want Gigi to win. It's like, no, it is Okarun and Momo all the way.
all day long.
But yeah, the fight scenes with the Evil Eye especially are really good.
Oh, they were fire.
Yeah, you haven't gotten there yet, but you watched the episode before. It ends with them with Okarun and the Evil Eye preparing the fight, and I'll let you know the fight's good.
Bet.
It's real good. Yeah, this season.
I also
sorry, good.
No, you're good. I need those earrings. Like, I need them to
Oh,
release the
yeah.
Evil Eye earrings as merch
Those-
because they're hard. I fear
Those earrings are cool. Yeah, the Evil Eye design is also really fun.
it is.
It's just hilarious that he bursts out of his clothes every time. Every single time. And also the stuff with like the hot and cold water was also really fun.
It was.
Yeah, just the way they work with like the aliens and the spirits and stuff is really fun, as well as the designs of them, which all for the most part share some kind of like uniformity, but still manage to be unique in their own right. And that the ones with like the like spirits of the musicians was very random but fun.
For sure.
I feel like it came out of nowhere, but it was very fun. Fun moment in that the episode before last.
Definitely was.
But yeah, I think that's about all I have to say about the second season of that so far.
Me too. It's just good. It's really good.
Yeah.
Has me excited for the rest.
Yeah, moving on to comics. So, Ira, what have you been reading?
Still reading Hellsing. I don't know why it didn't came out there. Getting into is what I was trying to say, I think. Still getting into Hellsing, not very far into it. Kind of put it on the back burner for a bit because I've been working on curriculum at work. Sub, cry. But Hellsing, I've been getting into. Planning on picking that back up real soon. Claymore also has been really, really good. Shadow's House has updated a couple of times recently, and it is still just as insane as it was the last time it updated. I also caught, I don't remember if I talked about this last podcast or not, but I caught back up on Witch Hat Atelier in preparation for the anime, which still no news on that yet, but fingers crossed.
Yeah, I've been thinking about picking up Witch Hat Atelier physically, because I got the first 3 volumes digitally, and now I look back on it like, why didn't I get those physically? And I'm like, I think I'm gonna start getting it physically.
Yeah, Witch Hat,
because
usually I'm very much like
I like reading manga physically if it's not something like that's gonna be on Shonen. Like I keep up with current ongoing manga that I care to keep up with on Shonen Jump, and I can save money that way. But for ones that I'm not keeping up with, I do like to try and get them in volumes.
And then like with Witch Hat, I think it usually I'm like a very, very much like digital manga reader just because it's easier and like I don't have to make space for the stuff. But Witch Hat is definitely one of those mangas that I will advocate for like getting physical copies of because the cover art is beautiful. The actual art in the manga is beautiful. Like, and it's worth having on the shelf. Like completely. I couldn't recommend this series enough. I love it. It's been getting crazy though lately, and it's been kind of scaring me. I don't know. We'll see how things turn out, but that's about it, really.
How about you, Brie? What have you been reading?
Before I get into that, I've been actually meaning to pick that up because I watched a synopsis video on like the first like maybe 2 books or 2 volumes of Witch Hat, but it is getting kind of scary, and I'm like, ooh, I need to like physically read this.
I might get the first 3 volumes again, but physically, just so that I can reread them because I have a vague memory of the things that happened, but I don't remember completely, and I need to sit down and reread it from the beginning.
There's so many mysteries. I'm so intrigued. I gotta get the books, but
I like
as of right now. Oh, go on.
Yeah, since you do, even though you haven't read it yet, you do know a decent amount about it. I'd like the magic system of magic being a thing that it's like hidden from people, and it's treated like a thing that only special people can do, but really anybody can do it. But They kind of like hide it from people.
Mhm.
They, it's complicated. I'm interested to read more to learn about, just the politics surrounding it, because on one hand it's messed up because you're hiding this thing that everybody can do that's very useful from people, but then they're also trying to do it because it could be dangerous in the wrong hands. But who are you to try and like keep these natural resources out of people's hands? Like, it's very complicated, but and that's what's fun about it.
As
And
a
the
defender.
fact that it's kind of easy to actually cast the spells, okay? Like when they were explaining the magic system, I was like, dang, I could even do this.
And it's like hearing you both say this as a person who's caught up, you don't even know the half of it when it comes to the politics.
Oh
Oh
yeah, I
no.
already know it's gonna. I
You
can
don't
tell.
even know.
I could
You
tell
don't even know.
when it was revealed. I could
Oh.
tell that I was gonna get crazy. I was like, this is a very interesting. Like, once this news gets out, it's gonna get crazy. Like, I'm very interested to see where it goes.
But it's also like so interesting that like the politics of it are so well written, because like in starting with chat I was so concerned that they would like set up this very very political, very like like important structure and then do nothing with it, or like get very surface level with it. But yeah, I don't know. Y'all got to read the rest. It gets really good.
Maybe that.
Oh, for sure I
Maybe.
will. I want to
Maybe.
get the
Maybe.
solid copies.
Yeah. Maybe Volume 1 becomes a part of the booklet. We read Volume 1 and talk about
Yes,
that. That would be
I
fun.
will bet.
It's been a minute since I've read it, so I'd be down.
That'll give me an excuse to buy it physically.
Exactly. But I have 2 volumes of The Way of the House Husband that just been like sitting on like my shelf, so I started reading those.
I love that
And
manga.
it's so cute. I love it.
It's so cute. The anime adaptation is so disappointing, but
It
low-key I kind of
is.
liked it. I liked it. I thought it
Yeah,
was kind of
it's its own
charming.
special thing.
Yeah.
Oh shit. So you said Way of the House Husband, and I thought of Spy Family because it's very similar in the sense that it's a person with a very violent, or I guess in Way of House Husband he used to be a gangster, but in Spy Family it's like this person living a family life who had a violent job or has a violent job. Um, and I was like, when is that coming
My
back?
jam.
And it turns out Spy Family season 3 is happening in October. So I'm finally going to subscribe to Crunchyroll again because oh wait, it's going to be
The
up.
perfect excuse.
It looks like it might be on. No, never mind. Yeah, because there's been a lot of anime that have been out that I'm like, I want to watch that, but I just haven't because I just didn't want to pay for another subscription service.
Makes sense.
Like, was it To Be Hero X? I saw a trailer for that like years ago, legitimately, and I was like, oh, that looks sick. I'm gonna watch that when it comes out. And then it was on Crunchyroll. I was like, nope, never mind, not watching it. But I'll watch it now. And also there's a new anime out based off a manga that has incredible art called starts with a G. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Gachi Akuru.
Uh,
What is
Gachia
it?
Gachia Kuda.
Gachi Akuru. Yeah.
Yes, and
I
I've
love
always
it.
I've seen art for that manga for years, and when I saw it was getting an anime, I was like, ooh, that's cool. I'll finally watch it. So yeah, when Spy Family starts coming out, I'm probably gonna go back and catch up on those.
But the last bit of comics I've been looking at, I've been getting into like a lot of independent comics, specifically like Sonic
Mm.
or like Archie. There's like a fan made one that I found like today actually about one of like the side characters, 2 of them at least, and it's Whisper and her friend or lover, I don't know actually, named Tangled. And Whisper essentially lost like her whole team and was like basically starting over from zero. And if you know about Sonic Colors, she's like the one of the guardians of like the Wisps or whatever. So that's nice. I need to see more content that isn't just like Sonic and his friends, and that's what I need.
That's cool. That's cool. There was a Sonic DC crossover a couple months ago. That was interesting.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That was very. I didn't really like read it, but I saw some things from it. It was pretty neat. You know, kind of cute, kind of cute.
So for me, still reading the Poppy War. Been slowed down on reading it as I'm reading some other stuff, but Poppy War's still good. Um, in terms of comics, as you know, I'm always reading like a dozen comics. I've read let me actually no, that's not gonna help. I've read Ultimate X-Men, but I can't remember what issue it was. I think it was 13. I also read the latest issue of Daredevil, and those are only Marvel comics I read because I need to go to the comic shop and pick up my comics. I know they're mad at me because there's like I have like a lot of comics on my pull list. And then I bought some extra ones, and I'm like, there's like 10 comics in there. They're probably like, dog, come pick up your comics. Your comics are just sitting here. Um, but all of my Marvel comics that I need to read are physical, so I need to go pick those up soon. Before Wednesday, because Wednesday is when new comics come out. So before more comics get added to my pull list, I need to go pick up the old ones from last month. In terms of DC, I read Superman Treasury, Zatanna number 6, which unfortunately I think is the last issue. I thought it was an ongoing, but it doesn't seem like it is. Zatanna needs an ongoing. Batman Superman World's Finest number 41, Absolute Wonder Woman number 10, which is awesome. I'm excited for us to eventually get there. After Absolute Batman, Absolute Martian Manhunter number 5, which is my second favorite after Absolute Martian. Oh, excuse me, Absolute Wonder Woman from the Absolute Universe. Absolute Martian Manhunter is very interesting. I said it before, but Martian Manhunter in this is the Martian is a dimensional being that is in the mind of a detective and trying to help him stop what he calls white Martians from coming and like destroying the Earth. And at the end of issue 5, it was in the main universe, it actually is exactly what it is. White Martians are racist. I can't remember if they're racist against Green Martians or if Green Martians are racist against them, but there is some racism there. And in this universe, it's different. They're not actually Martians. Instead, they're these like super powerful dimensional beings with psychic powers, and they're like using the white Martians are apparently evil and trying to use their abilities to like destroy the world. And the green Martian Manhunter is trying to stop them through this detective. And at the end, it's revealed that it has something to do with Darkseid. And I'm excited to see what that goes and what they do with the New Gods in this universe. Speaking of which, I read New Gods number 8, Green Lantern Dark, Mr. Terrific Year 1 number 3, Superman issue number 28, Justice League Unlimited number 9, The Flash Bad Moon Rising special, The Flash number 23, Green Arrow number 26, which Green Arrow is one of the best ongoing DC comics right now. Green Arrow's so good. Getting back to the good stuff, where Green Arrow is very much a character that fights for the people, and they're getting back to that in this comics. Whereas the first arc of this current run was very much like kind of reestablishing his family of characters, and now that they've done that, now they're getting into the good stuff. I read Batman and Robin, Jason Todd number 2, Fire and Ice, When Hell Freezes Over number 4, Absolute Green Lantern number 5, and my current, I think, very favorite DC comic that's out at the moment, Batgirl number 10. Batgirl's so good. Batgirl's great. Maybe we'll read the early 2000s Batgirl comic eventually. I think she was introduced in a different comic, but Cassandra Cain, the second Batgirl, the best Batgirl. Barbara Gordon's cool, but she's better as Oracle. Which I don't think I read Birds of Prey. I don't think I read the latest issue, or a new issue hasn't come out yet. But yeah, that's all I have for comics. Like I said, I'm always reading a lot. I read a lot of comics. We're moving on to the book club and a comic that we all read. Wonder Woman from what year? Let's check. I have it open right here. 1986. October 14th, 1986. By George Perez. The most iconic Wonder Woman run known to man. After reading Wonder Woman Historia, I figured we should read the very first issue of George Perez's Wonder Woman and compare and contrast the origins of the Amazons. Because, you asked me before whether it was like a good or bad different, and I was like, because there are some really good things about it, and then there's some really weird things about it. And we're going to get into that. So it is written by George Perez and Greg Potter, with pencils by George Perez, inks by Bruce D. Patterson, colors by Tatiana Woods, letters by John Costanza, cover by George Perez, and it is edited by Karen Berger. The synopsis reads, Master comic storyteller George Perez of the New Teen Titans revitalized Wonder Woman in the mid-'80s with this stunning new origin for the Amazonian princess. What terrible event led to the birth of the Amazons, and how will Wonder Woman fare as their agent against the vile Ares? Find out here. So yeah, as usual, we're going to start with the art. George Perez is a legendary artist, known for a great mini comics, but most famously, I think, this Wonder Woman run and the New Teen Titans, which is the comic that the 2003 cartoon is based off of. I don't know how many older comics you guys have read, so I'm curious, what do you guys think of the art?
It's definitely what I thought. Like when I think of comic books, like the art is definitely like reminds me of what I think of. I'm like, yeah, this is definitely a comic. For better and for worse, it's like I feel like the colors are just a little too saturated. It's kind of hard on the eyes. But other than that, I think it's really well done art.
Yeah, I have to agree. Like, I was struggling looking at it because some of them are like either very pastelly or very like saturated. There's like no contrast between it, and it's also very text heavy, like way more than like the first one.
Oh
So I
yeah,
had to like I had to like really zoom in and read everything. So it took a
old
bit of time. But other than that,
old comics
yeah,
are
I do like the
super
art.
text heavy.
I was like, come on, guys. I'm pretty sure you could space out these bubbles just a bit more.
The further back you go, the more text heavy comics become. I don't go back any further than the 80s. I cannot read comics from the 70s and 60s. It hurts. Um,
Yeah.
don't get me started on the goddamn 50s and 40s. Oh my god.
Oof.
They have to narrate everything. He's like, oh, Batman, he stood up. He looked around. He walked across the room. Like, oh my god, bro. I can
I can
see what's
see that.
happening. You're
I can see
drawing it. You don't have to
that.
narrate everything. Um, but it's, to me, 80s is like peak comics for me in terms of art and a lot of the stories. This is where a lot of iconic stories come from, and I read a lot of comics from that era. And I'm like, these are some good shit. And like you said, when you think of comics, you think of that era of art style and art because that's where a lot of the most famous stories came from. Um, but yeah, and you talk about the it being text heavy. Good art is timeless. Despite how the printing process shows its age, like you mentioned with the colors, but lettering standards based on accessibility is not timeless. And because of
Yeah.
that, in old comics, lettering can be rough. They do the best with what they got, but you know, there's an issue of this very comic written entirely in cursive that was a nightmare to
Ooh.
read. I thought it felt like reading a different language. I had to decipher every letter, every word. It was a struggle. If you decide to in your free time continue reading this comic, it happens one issue. But man, is it annoying and it sucks because it's such a good issue where it's a person one of them is a character writing a letter to Wonder Woman. The other one is a police report detailing a murder, and you're following the detective, and it's very interesting, so good, but you can't understand what's happening because you're trying so hard to read. Ah, yeah. No sane modern comic letterer would ever have an entire issue being cursive. They know better. But moving on to the story itself, starting with the good, as I alluded to before, but unfortunately didn't pay off in his story itself. I thought it would, but that's because I was thinking about this story, and it's the fact that Hermes helps create Wonder Woman. Um,
Mm.
and also helps the goddesses, in their journey of creating the Amazons by ferrying them to the underworld before they hop on Charon's boat. But he blesses Diana alongside the other goddesses with super speed and flight. And I believe that's why he was so quiet during Zeus's dismissal of the goddesses in Historia, and why he is so absent from, what the gods specifically are doing. And I have a feeling that maybe they wanted to do more with Hermes in that story, but decided to, keep it focused on the woman. But it would have been interesting for them to involve Hermes a bit more. Like I feel like what they had, not necessarily what they had Dionysus do, but they could have had Hermes in the place of Dionysus in the story as helping them out. Um, because it was weird to have Hermes be so absent from the story when he's so important to Wonder Woman's history. He's one of the gods she's closest with.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I like that.
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Hey,
Yeah, no, I like that he has kind of like a stepdad relationship with the Amazons. I thought that was really silly, but like the way they played it off was also like it didn't feel out of place, you know?
Yeah.
I also noticed that like they also had like a lot of help from others despite what like happened in the other comic. Like
Mhm.
Apollo was willing to like speak on their behalf, and then Poseidon did his thing with like leading them to the island or whatever, and I was like, wow, they actually sort of kind of care.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. This time around, the reason they were created was the same, but there was also the added idea that they wanted the Amazons to also help keep the gods in people's memories so that they get their power from people's belief in them. So
Hmm.
they want the Amazons. The story starts very strong with like a caveman abusing his wife and just straight up murdering her,
Right.
and then that prompting the goddesses to be like, "That's enough of this." They got tired immediately. They didn't even wait till like the like
Right.
till like the peak of like Greek culture. It was like as soon as the caveman started abusing women, it was like, "That's enough." um, and yeah, that was a very one of the ways that it's very similar to the retelling in Historia. But then you have Ares, who is much more prominent in this, and like I
Hmm.
alluded to when we talk about Historia, very much a villain. um, very much just like I want war, and the only way to control men is through war because that's all they know. And that's all they care about. And everything they do results in war, and they do it for war. And he's the god of war, so he's just obsessed
Every
with
time
war.
he spoke, I was like, he sounds like Kratos in my head right now.
No, for real.
Like he was on demon time.
Like I've seen many like a depiction of Ares where it's like he's a warmongering freak, but I have never seen him crash out this badly. It's a little strange.
He looks like Marvin the Martian.
A little
He
bit.
does.
He looks like a
Like
humanoid Marvin the Martian.
the
Mm.
page I sent where like after he got his way, he's just like, haha, look at you, I'm better, and he just flies away. I'm like, wow. Instigate.
As I was reading it, I was imagining it being animated. I was like, this would be so funny animated.
Right?
Mhm.
But he gets his way, and then they go off. Not necessarily behind anyone's back because Zeus ultimately just said, "I don't give a fuck," and just left. Unlike in Historia, where he was just like, "No." Um, and they go do their thing, and Ares sees them do it, and then decides this cannot be. Um, and finds a way to manipulate things to have Heracles sent after them, much like in Historia, except this time he wins, and it's upsetting. That you think,
Yeah.
I don't know if you even thought for a second that he was actually on their side. Did you?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think I did the first time I read it either. I was like, oh, he's very clearly tricking them. This is too easy, and there's so many pages left. um,
Right?
and
Mhm.
and yeah, and it goes real bad, and you know things like this happen in real world. So I'm never like, even though it's uncomfortable, it's hard for me to get upset when it's done in a story with people being assaulted. It's the then having Athena victim blame them, where I'm like, what
Yeah.
the fuck, George Perez, and what's the other writer, Greg Potter? What are you doing?
Right. I was like, wait
because
a
like
second.
and this is the part where I start to replace aspects of the origin with Historia. Because in my mind, the story would have been better if it happened the way it happened, but then they did go out and seek revenge. They did kill Heracles, and then Zeus, does what he does in Historia, tries to kill them all,
Mhm.
but then gets dissuaded, and instead they're sent to Themyscira. Instead, in this, Hippolyta is just victim blamed by Athena. Like, no, this is
This
your
is
fault.
your fault.
You forsake
You gave
yourselves.
into
She
this.
literally said, "You forsaken yourselves, and now you're going to be punished." And they essentially become prison wardens on the island of Themyscira, guarding. I don't know. They don't ever say the name of it, but it's called Doom's Doorway, which is an access way to Tartarus. And in the DC universe, Tartarus is basically just used as a prison for all of the Greek goddesses' worst enemies or gods. As a whole, their worst enemies. And they have essentially become the wardens of that prison. And they mentioned that on Themyscira, they're practically immortal in the sense that they can be murdered, but they won't die from disease or um, I think they might die from like intentional poisoning, but they won't get disease. They won't age. You know, they're eternally youthful, but they can be murdered, and people have died guarding the door. And I'm like, dog, what? This is insane.
You know what though? It wouldn't be the first time that Athena blamed the victim
No,
for
not at all.
being victimized. Oh,
It's like, oh, you
Medusa.
should have been smarter. It's like, but she doesn't want to harm anyone. That's the whole point of them, like, trying to make peace. She's like, no, don't trust anyone. It's like, well, how am I supposed to know that? I just got here.
Yeah, and yeah, that's the part of the story that makes me go in terms of whether or not it is for better or for worse, because that's the only blip. Otherwise, it's a pretty good origin. Um, there's some other weird stuff that they do, bringing this aspect of story back later on. That if you end up reading it, you're gonna go, "What the hell were they thinking?" This story is like 80, like not even 80, like 90% good, but that 10%, there's some weird shit in there that just comes from the fact that it's written by men and it's from the 80s. For the most part, they do a really good job though, despite that. But in this, you actually get Wonder Woman. They go beyond her being sculpted out of clay, and you actually get her childhood and her origin. How did you guys like that? Actually, having Wonder Woman in the story.
I liked it a lot, but it did make me like miss it in Historia. Like I liked it because it's like, wow, it's Wonder Woman, but then the whole time I was reading it, I was like, damn, this would have went crazy in Historia. Right?
Well, you can just imagine that where Historia ends, it picks up here.
I just wanted to see their rendition of it, but I am glad that I got to like finally see her. I wish there was like more to it on her, like what they're on the island and everything, but I probably just have to like read more. But I like it. I do like it a lot.
Oh, yeah,
It kind of went by quickly though, I will say.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first arc, essentially, yeah, the whole, maybe not the whole, definitely not the whole actually, but the first arc of the story, like the first, I think like six, I'm thinking, it's not the first 6 years. A significant amount of the story takes place on the island and in Tartarus. So if you continue reading it, you'll get back to the island and have her spend more time there. And of course, she goes back and forth between the island and man's world. But yeah, I'm currently almost done with the second volume of George Perez's Wonder Woman. I'll have to get back to reading that eventually. But I think it's, to me, even though I knew it was coming, the Amazon's final challenge being to just up the pole is so funny to me. Just that image of Philippus pointing a gun at Diana is so comical. It's just,
Right?
it's so
It
funny.
came out of nowhere. She was like, "I will not miss." I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Where did she get that?"
And then she didn't shoot. She didn't shoot once, not twice, but 3 times. I feel like
I
once.
know how to
She
play.
emptied the clip. I was like, "Wait a second."
Like if it was anybody but Wonder Woman, they'd be dead. Nobody else on that island has the speed of Hermes.
Right.
Even Diana was shook. She was like, "Wait a second, what is this? What is this thing?"
But yeah, I'm glad to be spreading the good gospel of Wonder Woman. And just getting more people into it, because I never have anybody to talk about it, any comics with, let alone Wonder Woman. So
Right.
this is great, and hopefully you guys read some more Wonder Woman down the line, and of course we will eventually on this show in general. But next we'll be reading Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, starting with the first 2 issues in the next episode. So I'm excited for that. Okay, so moving on to TV and film. What have you been watching lately, Christian?
Southside again. Made it to the final season of the show. Bit sad about that, but I'm probably definitely going to do a rewatch anyway. But yeah, still been watching Southside. In regards to stuff that I'm interested in watching, yeah, planning on seeing Highest to Lowest maybe sometime this weekend. And also, I want to watch the film that Highest to Lowest is based on, High and Low, one of these days as well, because I see that that's on Max or HBO Max. Like, and I will say that's the one of the cool things about Max is that they do have a decent selection of international stuff. So,
Oh wow, it's a
um,
Kara Kurosawa film. I didn't know.
yeah. So yeah,
Yeah, I've
I
been
wanted
wanting
to
to check out some of his non-samurai stuff.
same like High and Low, Ikaru, like a lot of that stuff just really seemed interesting to me. So I want to clear like a nice few hour time slot where I can just sit down and just dig into the films. So yeah, that's what's on my watch list right now. And yeah, Southside, Justice for Southside, maybe a season 4. And if not a season 4, at least it's 3 seasons of very just cool television. It's just great comedy. But yeah, that's been all for me.
Yeah, for me, still watching Alien Earth. That's airing. There was a new episode last night as we're recording this, but I didn't get a chance to check it out because I decided for the rest of the night I wanted to finish up playing Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, the remake of MGS3. Um, so I'm gonna watch that later today. But since last time we recorded, I think I've watched episode 4, and still great. Um, the initial alien threat was taken care of, and now we're in a slow build up to the gestation of another xenomorph as the show focuses on the characters for the most part. Um, the show stars a synthetic human that the mind of a dying child was placed into in an attempt to evolve the human race and create immortality, basically. And pretty much every alien movie has been about how rich people it's been about rich people messing with things that they don't understand in an attempt to make money and it blowing up in their face. So I'm expecting that happen again because one of the um, like lead characters is a rich guy called the Boy Genius, who started a company called Prodigy, and he is the person behind this attempt at creating immortality. And it's kind of it's a essentially a technological race to who can invent immortality first. Um, and the this show takes place before the first um alien, the first, not even just the first two, I think it is just the first two alien movies, but after Prometheus. So is in an interesting place in the timeline of that franchise, and I'm excited to see where it goes. I don't know how many episodes it's going to be overall. I think it might be 6, and we're on episode 5, so I guess this is the penultimate episode.
Okay. Wow.
I know it's going to be 8 episodes. Okay, that's good. So this isn't the penultimate
Okay.
episode. We're only
Let's say it got
a little over halfway through.
yeah. Okay. Let's say it got the Yasuke treatment.
You know, so it got more episodes than we usually get from shows like this. 8 episodes is kind of wild.
Yeah. Right.
Usually I only get 6.
Yeah.
But I'm also watching Peacemaker season 2. We're on, what is it? I think first 2 episodes. I can't remember. But yeah, so far it's just as good as the first season, and more really. They retconned the very end of the first season in a very interesting way. Um, because there was just some tie-in with some of the other DC movies that they wanted to change to make it fit within the current universe. And yeah, James Gunn has said that things are canon from the previous universe whenever it is explicitly stated in a project. And I can't remember if he said it himself, but I know that for the most part, I believe the Blue Beetle movie is going to be canon, and that actor is, and I think pretty much all of those actors and characters are probably going to be moving forward into this universe as well. Because that movie was very isolated away from everything to begin with, so it's going to be very easy to bring that character over into this universe. And supposedly he might be in
Right.
the Teen Titans movie that's in the work with the being written by the same person who wrote the upcoming Supergirl movie. But yeah, Peacemaker is great. I believe you said you hadn't watched the first season, right?
Haven't watched the first season.
And I was gonna say
Oh, so good.
it's definitely one of the best comic book projects out there. I mean, it's James Gunn. He always does a good job with that.
In regards to how Superman 2025 plays into things, is of course Peacemaker was in there. Is there any overlap for real, like in regards to canon, or is it just Peacemaker basically being Deadpool and just hopping from universe to universe.
So technically the first project in this universe was Creature Commandos, which was the animated show on HBO Max. And in a lot of ways, it was basically the Suicide Squad. Um, and it was a bunch of like monstrous villains, or not even, they weren't even really none of them. Well, I guess not none of them, but some of them aren't even villains. But this team was put together that was called, I think it was a Task Force Z or something like that, or it wasn't Task Force X, which is Suicide Squad. And Rick Flag Sr., the father of the Rick Flag from the Suicide Squad movies, was in that show, voiced by Frank Grillo. Um, yeah, Rick Flag Sr. was voiced by Frank Grillo, and he played him in live action in Superman. And he's also in this show, and he makes reference to what happened in Superman. So Peacemaker takes place after Superman, and uh, Maxwell Lord, played by James Gunn's brother, Sean Gunn, as well as Green Lantern, Guy Gardner, and Hawkgirl show up in Peacemaker. So yeah, there's direct connections.
Got you.
But I definitely suggest checking it out. It's a great show.
Okay. Yeah, I'm interested because I think Superman has me very interested in what this new universe will be. And also, I've just heard good things about Peacekeeper in general, or Peacemaker. I'm sorry, I said Peacekeeper. Peacemaker in general. And how kind of like a lot of James Gunn stuff, it surprisingly has heart out of nowhere. Like it definitely seems like one of those shows for sure. So I'll give it a watch.
Keeping on that train of the new DCU, James Gunn's Superman 2 is coming July 9th, 2027. So Gunn made a tweet saying, Man of Tomorrow in theaters July 9th, 2027, with art from comic book legend and DC Comics editor-in-chief Jim Lee, of Superman in his suit from the movie and Lex Luthor in his mech suit from the comics. And David Cornsweet and Nicholas Holt also posted images on their various social media accounts with the same caption, but David Cornsweet had art from George Jimenez, who, in my opinion, is the best modern Superman artist. And Nicholas Holt posted art from Mitch Gerard. And both also are of Superman and Lex, and with Lex in his power suit. And it's great to finally have comics be respected by the people adapting them. Because Marvel could care less, and it shows, while DC is announcing movies with comic art and getting the writers from the comics involved with the movies and shows. And so that's just fantastic to see.
Yeah, that is very cool. And yeah, it's really putting the art at the forefront. Um, someone made this point, or I think it might have been Patrick Willems, and he said that for Marvel Comics, the comics are basically just an ideal farm for the movies now, or at least that's how Marvel Studios treats the comics. They just kind of treat it as a pool to just reach into. Um, but in regards to anything else other than that, yeah, it doesn't really give that much respect to the writers, especially in regards to just straight up taking concepts. Um, even though it's not the movies, Spider-Man 2, the game, kind of had some controversy in regards to that with Venom and like some of the art concepts being taken from like a specific comic run done by a couple artists and they just kind of used it. And it wasn't a lot of like shedding a light on the people that created a lot of those concepts. So yeah, I think it's cool that not only they're announcing it, but they're announcing it with, you know, love and reverence for the writers and artists that are working on the characters. I think
And
that alone is, yeah.
something else that this does, like, it's insane that we aren't seeing a boom in American comic book sales as a result of this, as a result of this, just the existence of these movies, because we see it with anime. People watch the anime, they go and read the manga. That thing that, there's a balance there because they have respect for each other. Whereas, despite comic book movies having been one of the biggest things on the planet for a decade, that love wasn't sent back to the comics. But James Gunn now actively talks about the comics he takes inspiration from for the movies, and then they make sets of comics that are related to the movie. Like with Superman, they released a set of comics bundled together that were some related to the movie, some not really, but just some of the like greatest hits of Superman. And that's dope. We're seeing them be like, hey, you like this movie? Go read the comic. And they started doing this around the time of Black Adam, as weird as that time period was for DC, where they, at the end of like a trailer, they would show, read these comics if you want to get to know this character. And they need to keep doing that. And Marvel needs to start doing that. They need to start going, hey, we have this app where you could just read the comics online if you just subscribe for a month. You can read every comic that has ever existed that we released. And you can really read the new ones that are ongoing. You'll be 3 months behind in terms of Marvel's app. Whereas DC, you're only 1 month behind. And I think Marvel needs to change that. It's annoying. But yeah, it's just DC cares about the comics, the place where they're pulling these stories from. And it feels like Marvel couldn't care less.
Like with Brand New Day, like this new Spider-Man film, I'm curious what comics they're even pulling from for it, or like
There's the Brand New Day
which
comic.
run. What is Brand New Day? Nick Spencer? I'm blanking.
Well, I think the main author was like Dan Slott
I'm wondering,
and Mark Guggenheim were
Okay.
the main ones.
and I'm wondering, like, are they just using that in title like they did Civil War, or is it going to be an adaptation?
Yeah, we'll have to see. I doubt it. It'll be a direct adaptation.
Yeah.
Marvel just,
Yeah.
they don't do. I mean, none of them do direct adaptations, but Marvel even less so. And honestly, I think the
Right.
name works for what they're doing for the story. I don't think because it has that name, it has to pull from that specific story. It's just that the stories
Yeah.
that they do pull from, they should get credit where credit's due. But yeah, in terms of the kind of like implications of the images we saw in regards to Superman 2, Man of Tomorrow, it looks like Superman and Lex Luthor might be forced to work together in the next movie, perhaps against Brainiac in his first ever movie appearance. It feels like that's the direction they're going. I think James Gunn, he's a comic nerd. He knows that Brainiac has not been on the big screen yet.
Yeah.
And he's probably like, if he's going to be on the big screen, that would be the best time. And if Lex and Superman are being forced to work together, against Brainiac makes the most sense. And it's happened in the comics before where they've been forced to work together specifically to combat Brainiac. So I imagine that is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it is exciting and it's fast. I wasn't expecting a Superman 2 to be made this quick.
Yeah, it's crazy. When are we going to get that goddamn Wonder Woman movie and cartoon? He promised both, and he's yet to deliver on any bit of news. What's happening over there?
Has there been any rumor on casting or anything of the sort?
No. They need to go on top of that. They have one of her main villains casted. She showed up in Creature Commandos. Cersei, played by Anya, was it Charlotta, I think? She played Yennefer in the live action Witcher on Netflix. And yeah, she voiced her in Creature Commandos, and all the actors who voiced their characters in that are gonna reprise their roles whenever they show up in live action. There was a pretty star-studded cast in that movie, or show. And yeah, she's gonna be playing Cersei, and I'm excited to see that in live action. A villain, again, people know very little about Wonder Woman. And she is definitely one of those things where, like, she is essentially the Doc Ock to Wonder Woman Spider-Man, where Cheetah is like Green Goblin, where, like, I think people would agree that is the arch nemesis of Wonder Woman, the arch nemesis of Spider-Man. But Doc Ock is a very close second, and you could argue he is perhaps maybe more of a nemesis of Spider-Man than Green Goblin. It's the same way with Cersei and Cheetah. Cersei is just as much a nemesis of Wonder Woman as Cheetah, but we haven't seen her in almost anything. She showed up in one cartoon, and the episode she showed up in was heavily focused on Batman in Justice League Unlimited, which was really weird. So hopefully I can only imagine she's going to probably be the main villain of the first proper Wonder Woman movie. But yeah, there's of course, a Wonder Woman movie going to happen, but also they announced like years and years ago when they first were announcing things that they were making a Paradise Lost show about the Amazons that is supposedly going to adapt Wonder Woman Historia, which earlier in this very episode, we wait, no, that was last episode. Last episode, we reviewed the final chapter of Wonder Woman Historia. This episode, we're reviewing, we're comparing Wonder Woman Historia to the very first issue of George Perez's Wonder Woman run, which also chronicles the origin of the Amazons back in the 80s, whereas Wonder Woman Historia was just before the pandemic. And comparing those two and how outdated the old one is and kind of sexist, despite how great that comic book is overall, it has some pitfalls due to, just the time it was written in. But yeah, I'm waiting for Wonder Woman. I'm waiting with bated breath. Give me something. Give me a cartoon. That's all I really want. I want a cartoon more than anything. Give me a Wonder Woman cartoon. She needs one. She's never had one. She needs one. I will talk about it to the day I die. But that's all.
I understand because
Go ahead.
everyone else in the Trinity
Has had dozens of projects.
Dozens, multiple types. Year after year after year.
Wonder Woman had two movies. One of them was bad. The other one, looking back on it, is okay as hell. And she's never had a cartoon. She's only appeared in other people's cartoons. And she had a couple animated movies, but those were directed DVD shit. Like, come on now.
Right.
A cartoon is the least you can do.
She does deserve more love. Right. Or even like a video game or something like that. Yeah, there's not been that many representations. Oh yeah, they destroyed that with because Monolith was working on it, right?
Yep. And both Wonder Woman game and Monolith, they're gone. It's unfortunate. They need to get their shit together. WB's dropping the ball.
I was about to turn it into the gaming section. I'm sorry.
Moving on to video games. What have you been playing lately?
So, I got my DS back from the shop. I don't know if I talked about this on the podcast before, but we almost lost my 3DS in a tragic the top screen came off incident.
Oh wow.
And so it was in the shop for a couple months and I had to get the battery replaced and all this stuff. But I got it back. And I have been like running my Animal Crossing New Leaf town like a dictatorship because I'm back, okay? Like it's been a couple, honestly, close to a year since I had played on it, and so there's weeds everywhere. People have moved in, people have moved out, and I'm like, I need to get everything in line and in order so I can start enjoying the game again. And that's been fun. I've been playing like a lot of DS games that like I've been kind of itching to play but have not been able to. So I've been trying to finish Ghost Trick. I've been playing a lot of Cooking Mama also, surprisingly. I fully beat 4 and 5, like all gold medals, all like skill stars and everything. And 2 is next on my sights, but Cooking Mama 2 is like really hard for no reason. It's fascinating because it's like you would think it would be really, really easy, but sometimes stuff in the recipe just goes wrong and it's not my fault. And I'm like, that's not good game design, but I can't be mad at it because it's realistic. But yeah, mostly just been playing a whole bunch of DS games that I haven't had the chance to play in a really, really long time, and that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, that sounds fun. I'd be distraught if anything happened to my PS3.
Real.
But for me, always playing Rivals. Any chance I get. Fun game, of course, always. I'm currently trying to get back to Gold 1, and it's harder now than ever. And when I finally got to Silver 1, and I'm trying to get to Gold 3 now, and I'm like, bruh, those Silver 2 teammates were so ass. And I realized what the problem was, is that I don't usually do this, but I would cut on the game and immediately hop in the rank, because I'm like, I'm trying to rank up. And then would have some ass teammates. And then would lose and be like, I'm not having a good time. I'm cutting the game off. What I would normally do is I would warm up with a regular game or a Doom match, which is the free for all mode where you just whoever gets first to 16 points, which is like some statistics based thing based off of how much you've died and how many kills you've gotten, assists and everything. And I would do that, then I would hop into ranked, and I wasn't doing that, and I was getting annoyed. So yesterday I was like, let me like actually do that again, and I played a game of Doom match, then I played a regular match, and then I played ranked, and then I won, and I was like, oh, this is good. Maybe I should do this all the time. But also, I don't think that actually is the reason why. I think it's because I was playing in the morning because it was the weekend. So I was like, okay, I'm not working today, so I'm just going to play in the morning. And the queue times were long because either people were working, most likely. So I was sitting there waiting for like a minute before I got into a game. And all the people that are up in the morning playing the game are probably actually good at it. Because they probably don't got jobs. No, I'm joking. But
But there probably is some truth to that.
yeah, there probably is partially some truth to that. But like, yeah, and then we won, and I was like, thank you, because all the teams before that for the last couple of days have been so bad. It's been so annoying, and I'm now nobody like everybody wants to play healers now. All of a sudden, this didn't used to be a thing. Now everybody wants to play healers, so I'm always forced to play tank, even when I want to play healer. It's unfortunate. I'm always having to play tank, but now I'm always just playing. I'm just playing to my strengths now to try and rank up. So I'm just playing Emma Frost all the time now because I have no choice.
Makes sense.
But I picked up some new games lately, or recently, I should say. Two, which were new releases that came out the same day, and then one is a game that I wanted to get physically that I already played and completed digitally. So I have bought Clair Obscur Expedition 33 physically from my Xbox. So because I was like,
it's a good game.
I was like, I need to support them because it's a small team, 33 people, well, 32 people and a dog. So I was like, I got to support them, and I want them to make more. Which we'll talk about later. There's little news about that. And I got Kirby and Forgotten Lands with the Switch 2 version. I think it was called Starcross something. I got that. I haven't played it. I just put the game card in, and that's it. That's it. It's called
Real
Plus Starcrossed World. And I watched a review that said that they essentially add like 12 levels have another version of that level that's changed and adds a bunch of extra content, and that's essentially what the DLC is. Now, it costs too much. It costs way too much.
Ooh.
It shouldn't cost as much as it does. It's very unfortunate, but I love Kirby. So I was
how
like,
much does it cost?
I haven't played a Kirby game in a long time. It costs $80.
$80? That's ridiculous.
This game came out when games were still $60. So basically, they're saying that the DLC is $20. It's not. Everybody who's played this said it's not. Everybody who's played this said this is not $20 worth of DLC. Like maybe I'll give you 10. 20 is insane.
20 is absolutely, that's highway robbery.
Diabolical. And with me with Nintendo games, the reason I just get them is because the price isn't going to go down. That's just not a thing.
Yeah.
That's just not a thing that Nintendo does. So I'm just going to get the game because what? I'm going to get a $2 discount in like 2 years. I don't care. I'm just getting it now.
Right.
So yeah, I like Kirby. I haven't played a Kirby game in a long time because I haven't had a Nintendo console in a long time. But I've always loved Kirby.
Right.
Kirby's always been one of my favorite Nintendo characters, and I love the Kirby games. So I'm excited to play this and also go back to play some older Kirby games. But last, but certainly not least, I got Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater.
Yes.
But I'll talk about that at the very end. So moving on to some gaming news. Skate finally names an early access release date, and you can play it for free in under a month. This is coming from Tom Phillips at IGN. Skate's early access launch begins on September 16th via PC, PlayStation 4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X/S. And I was surprised to hear that it's going to be on previous generational consoles. It's going to be on PS4 and Xbox One. That's interesting.
I can play it. Fantastic.
Yes. As previously announced, you will need an internet connection to play the game, as well as an EA account to log in. Skate developer Full Circle previously explained the need for an online connection as something required for its vision of a living, breathing, massively multiplayer skateboarding sandbox that is always online and always evolving. That is a lot of words and a lot of modifiers. The game takes place in the fictional city of San Vansterdam, which is a mix of skating meccas San Francisco, Vancouver, and Amsterdam. San Van is made up of 4 neighborhoods, each with their own unique flair. We're building an ever-evolving world that will continue to grow over time. You'll see new skatable areas, seasonal events, challenges, brand patterns, music, and more pop up throughout early access and beyond. Whether you're on a solo mission or cruising around with friends, you'll find plenty of spots to skate. Or get creative with quick drop and toss down a ramp, rail, or one of our more offbeat options to shape new spots. So, I'm personally excited, but I know a lot of people are understandably apprehensive and slash or, downright pessimistic about this game. So many games have failed in their attempt to chase the free-to-play trend, and skate fans are afraid that if this fails, the franchise will be dead and buried. And dead and buried after chasing a trend that, skate fans didn't feel like they need to in the first place. And on top of that, a lot of people also aren't a fan of the art style, which is a lot more stylized. Since, some of the older skates were going for, realism, as close as they could get,
Right.
for the generations of consoles that they were on. A lot of people were expecting that. But this is going for something more stylized. Me personally, I think that both decisions make sense. Skate
Yeah.
is fun when you play by yourself, and based on that blurb I just read, you need an internet connection to play the game, but you can still play it solo. But it's at its fun when you're when you're playing with other people, because skating in the real world is an inherently community driven activity, and it makes sense to bring that into the game itself, virtually. And also when it comes to the art style, I feel like something a little bit more simpler makes it kind of just easier on servers. It makes it easier to develop. There's a lot of good reasons as to why they would want to go for something like that versus something
Right.
hyper realistic. And overall, I just think the free to play model makes sense for a game like this. Daily challenges and seasonal updates are something that will make me want to come back to this game and pick it up consistently. And it's also going to help bring in a whole new audience since there's no barrier to entry. The problem.
And I think
Sorry, go ahead.
mhm. I think the idea of a skating MMO is so novel that it's going to attract a lot of attention. And me personally, I have no interest in the skate games, but I'm going to play it because A, it's free, and B, again, that idea of a skate MMO is very novel, and I want to experience that because nobody's doing that out here. So it's like they're leaning into the free to play model, but they're also doing something new about it, which I think will really help it succeed.
Yeah, there's a lot of free to play games, but there are no free to play skate games.
Exactly.
The problem comes from the publisher, EA Games, and how they measure success. I'm afraid that Skate will perform well in the eyes of the players, but underperform in EA's eyes, resulting in a potential cancellation. The fate of this game and in the Skate franchise is really in in the hands of the fans and new fans actually showing up and playing the game consistently. For me, as long as the gameplay and level design is good day one, I'll be happy to wait for content updates as the game, makes its way towards a 1.0 launch. And yeah, this is coming out real soon. That's in 2 weeks from now when we're recording.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, Dijon here. A few days after recording this video game section with Iera, I discovered that my co-host for the TV and film section, Christian, had gotten to the Skate playtest and had been playing it for a couple weeks before it was announced for early access. So I'll be inserting our conversation about his experience with Skate here in the video game section. Please enjoy.
Okay. Yeah. Overall, in regards to video game space, I've been on a Skate playtest.
Oh, you've been on the
playing
playtest?
Skate they gave the way that they did it, they staggered access for folks, and their biggest playtest drop was, I would say, probably 3 to 4 weeks ago. And anyone who signed up for the playtest, I would say, a year ago, they had access to it. So I've been playing it for the past few weeks.
Holy shit! Why
And
didn't you say
I,
anything? Why
I'm
did you wait
sorry.
until now?
Yeah,
And
my fault, my
it's
fault.
about to be out in early access in like 2 weeks. And we talked about it. Me and Aya recorded the gaming section before me. You were recording
Oh,
the
I didn't
TV and film
know.
section on Sunday. Um, and we talked
Shoot.
about the recent trailer and announcement of early access and a bit of that information. And like, yeah, I'm excited for this. Tell me your experience with Skate.
Yeah. Overall, I en- I enjoy it. I'm gonna be honest. I enjoy it. In regards to the discourse to the game, it's very there's just a very strong lack of nuance, and like I feel like, yeah, there's just a lot more nuance that needs to be had in the conversation around Skate, because, and I'm not caping for EA. I would never do that. Not caping for EA. But I feel like calling this game Skate 4, or putting this up against the idea of a Skate 4, is just not it's not applicable. Like, one of my favorite first person shooters of all time, games of all time, is Titanfall 3. They didn't give us Titanfall 3 at Respawn, they gave us Apex Legends instead. But if I called Apex Legends Titanfall 3, I would be disappointed. But if I played Apex Legends as a free-to-play battle royale, I could have some fun with it. It's not Titanfall 3, and I want Titanfall 3. I'll always talk about how much I want Titanfall 3. But Apex, as a free-to-play shooter, it's fun enough and it gets the job done. Um, yeah, and that's how I feel about Skate. Um, Gameplay wise, it's better than the original trilogy.
Yeah, that's what I
I'm a
was
Skate
wondering.
sim nerd.
That's what I was wondering because I was wondering
Yeah.
if the gameplay was better because I've heard some people. No, I've only heard people say from what they see, not necessarily anybody who's played it has said this. But people are claiming that it's just like the third game, and I'm like, I hope it's not. I hope that it
Mm.
actually does evolve things, and it isn't just the third game but free to play. Because Skate 3 was
Yeah.
the
Oh no,
first.
it evolves.
It's the one and only skate game that I played, but it is to this day my favorite skateboarding game.
Hmm.
I love Skate 3 so
Oh no,
much.
oh yeah, it's a great game. Like, um I never played the first Skate, but 2 and 3 were in my rotation forever. And I think Skate 3, in regards to sheer hours, I think it's the game I've played the most, period, next to Mirror's Edge. Um, like, the original Skate games are monument, and they sparked an entire genre in their own right in regards to skate sims, which I'm a nerd of as well. Like, I've played Skater XL, I've played Session, and I was interested in
Oh, you played
how,
Session too.
with this game, yeah, oh, hours and hours and hours and hours on Session. Yeah. I was playing Session on last gen. Yeah, I've really gotten a Session. Um and I was curious, like, with Skate kind of being the originator of flick controls, how would they adapt, or what would they change to kind of match or compete with the skate sims on the market right now? And I'll say they take some things, in regards to adding more like a lot more customization in regards to controls, how you can control the skater, sensitivity controls, um, like you can set ollie height, or like what is the lowest possible ollie you want. Just like a lot of controls in that regard that make the game control realistic if you want it to. And I would say that's where it exceeds from the old ones. There's three difficulty settings, I think. It's like streamlined, which is like for new players of the game, and it streamlines tricks. So like it's kind of like modern mode in Street Fighter 5 or Street Fighter 6, I mean. Um and then you have classic, and it plays like Skate 3 basically. And then you have experienced, and that's when like grind assist is turned down, like a lot of like a lot of the settings that kind of make it easier to do certain tricks, they're turned down, and it's way more grounded and realistic. And I've been playing in that setting, and it feels great. It's the gameplay feels just very, very good. Um, it yeah. I mean, I would hope that it was better than the original trilogy, but yeah, the gameplay and the physics, you can really tweak it and customize it in a way that just makes the game it just kind of plays. Like it plays very good. Um so yeah, gameplay wise, I have no complaints
How do you
really
like
at all.
the map of San Vansterdam, a combination of San Francisco, Vancouver, and Amsterdam?
Uh regards to stuff like that, um in regards to gameplay, I think that there is a lot of interesting spots in the city and that it controls. Like, or not even that it controls. I think that the spots in the city are very cool and that they separated each of them in a way where they have different aesthetics. So you have like the industrial side, then you have like the more kind of like city sprawl side, and then more beach area. And I think they separated very well. Um, However, in regards to design, a lot of this discourse in regards to the design aesthetic and the design language that they use in the game, it's a lot of like just debate on it. For me, I am kind of mixed on it. I don't hate it like a lot of people do. Like I'm not like completely opposed to it.
Yeah, me neither.
Um,
I get that,
yeah.
especially like just the entire direction of like this game is going makes sense for what it is
Hmm.
and what they're trying to do and trying to make a game like this that has out of when did Skate 3 come out? 2009? Like trying to bring back this franchise that's
Yeah,
been
like
kind of
yeah.
dormant for a very long time in the modern era 2010 in the modern era of multiplayer games. And I think a game like this, skate games
Yeah.
especially, like you can play this game solo. They've said it on their website, but it does require internet access. But I play Skate 3 by myself because I didn't really have access to the internet a lot when I was a kid. And I would just pass control over, to my brothers, and we would just play like that. I can't remember if there was some type of split screen multiplayer, but that's how I played Skate 3. But games like this and just skating in general, even in the real world, I feel like community is a big part of it. So it makes sense to make this an online community type experience with the option to play by yourself if you prefer that, but to have the main experience be surrounding community. And then also, I feel like a game like this, for me personally, having daily challenges, weekly challenges, monthly challenges, and like seasons will help me encourage me to want to come back and play it over and over again versus playing it consistently for like a week and then dropping it for months and then picking it back up later. Like having that consistency will help a lot and make me just want to play this game in general. And the art style is kind of part of that as well. Kind of just games take way longer to make nowadays because of just how good they look, and having to cut back on that a bit, kind of expedites the process and also just streamlines things in a way that makes the game easier to make. So I understand why they went for this. Also, some of it probably also has to be to appealing to a younger audience, and like people who play Fortnite, which has that more cartoony art style, and trying to just
Hmm.
the reality is that the old skate audience isn't going to be enough to keep this game afloat. That's just the truth. So they do need
Right.
to try and bring in that younger audience.
Yeah. And I feel like, I mean, there's people that are like, oh, yeah, I would pay $70. I mean, I'm one of those people. I would pay $70 for a Skate 4, like a official game, but I don't think EA was going to go for that. Like, sure, it's a lot of people that wanted Skate 3 to happen and push for Skate 3 to happen, or Skate 4 to happen, I mean. There's a lot of people that push for it. However, it's just this skate video game market is not exactly the juggernaut that it used to be. Even though like we
It's
still get
coming
the Tony
back.
Hawk remakes and stuff like that.
Like it's starting
Yeah,
to
it's
come
it's
back.
starting to have an upward slope, which I love. Um, but I agree. I think that the free to play model makes sense for Skate. In Skate 3. I mean, I played solo as well and just passed the controller. But in Skate 3 days, a lot of people were making like part videos and a lot of just community parks and just a lot of content like that. So skating being a social activity in the real world and the skate games being innately social, I think them making it free to play, open world, it made sense. Like I'm not completely opposed to it. The only the only time I'll revolt is when they're saying like in order to do dark slides you got to pay $30. Like if
Oh
they
yeah, like
paywall if if they paywall tricks,
yeah,
I'm that's a line.
like for
But as
me,
long as like
what's exciting about this game is that as long as the gameplay is tight and the map is fun to traverse, that's enough for me. And I'm fine watching it like evolve from there because it's going in early access. It's not even going to be 1.0 release, so there's going to be a lot of room for them to grow and evolve the game as a whole with our direct
right,
feedback. Playing the game.
yeah, right. So for that reason, I'm interested in it. I think that with the right, if they continue to invest in the open world and making it interesting, and if the missions are fun and the social engagement activities are fun and like the community aspect is cool, then I think that Skate can be great. I think that it could be a cool free to play game. Um, I don't need my character to wear Supreme or like DC skateboarding, or my character doesn't need Nike SBs. As long as I can skate and play like fun challenges and play with my friends, that's all I need. So yeah.
Yeah, I was curious about the customization because it's not even out in early access yet. It comes out in early access on the 16th. Right now, you're just playing the playtest. So I assume, like you said, the customization is lean. Because I'm curious, like,
Yeah.
what does the customization look like for Black people? Because games are always real stingy about that. And with a game with a simpler art style like this, I feel like there's definitely no excuse because it's so easy to make Black hair look good when you're going for a simpler art style. When you're trying to do it realistically, I understand the difficulty, but when it's much simpler,
Hmm.
you have no excuses.
And I will be blunt. I think out of the 16 we have 3.
Of,
Yeah.
of course we do.
We got we got locks. Um it's a fade hairstyle. Um I think cornrows are in there. I think there is cornrows. That is it. That's it.
I'm gonna be in
Yeah,
those.
they hit us with
I'm about to be in those
the
forums
bando.
being like, bro, give me
I know
Black
for sure.
hairstyles.
No, like it's the Bandai Namco special. Like they really hit it. Yeah, like that's the hairstyles we got.
We don't even got
So
the Killmonger in
it's
there.
very lean. They don't even got the Killmonger. You would think they have that. Yeah,
That's bare
they,
minimum at this point.
no Killmonger. Right. They didn't have any like 80s high top fade. Like none of that. Nothing. None of those was in the game.
That's my
So
go-to. They ain't got the high top.
well, right, exactly. Like they didn't have nothing.
Wow.
So yeah, it's very lean. Um, so we'll see. I'm gonna join you in those forums because it's absurd.
But yeah, knowing
But
this is a game we're gonna have to play together. We're finally gonna have a game that we can play together.
oh oh absolutely, yeah.
But before
Oh
we
yeah, because
wrap up,
I'm gonna be on there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, I did want to ask you. You mentioned Mirror's Edge as well. Have you seen or played
Hmm.
Rooftops and Alleys, which is like essentially
Oh
skate if it was parkour?
oh yeah, I got that on the console.
That
Yeah.
makes sense. I figured as much because I was like, that game sounds right up your alley. I didn't even know you were into skate games, but knowing you're into skate games and then you also mentioned Mirror's Edge, I was like, you have to be playing Rooftops and Alleys.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was an instant cop for me. Yeah. I started playing it and oh yeah, the control scheme, it's tougher than session. Like in session is pretty hard to get into, but yeah, rooftops and alleys. The score system is very interesting. The control layout is very interesting, and it almost feels like you're splitting your brain into two sides or like three sides to really get it to play in the way that you want it to. But overall, yeah, time trial, trick based, movement based game. It's pretty fun. I enjoyed it for like the amount that I played of it. But I do want to get back into it. But yeah, Skate's taking it's taking all my time.
Next, we have Valor Mortis. So this is a game that was announced at Gamescom Opening Night Live that we talked about briefly last episode. It's being developed by One More Level, the devs behind the Ghost Runner games, which are first-person, fast-paced action platformers. But this game is decidedly slower paced as a first-person Souls-like that is giving me some Dishonored vibes. So according to Steam, Valor Mortis is a first-person action Souls-like from the creators of Ghost Runner. Rise from the dead as a former soldier of Napoleon's army. Wield supernatural powers, battle horrifying monsters, and unravel a conspiracy that threatens all of humanity. So a gameplay demo was available at Gamescom in Germany, and several outlets, released their impressions and gameplay videos. And I am so much more interested now. The combat reminds me of the sword combat from the Dishonored games, where you wield a sword in one hand and a projectile weapon or a magical ability in the other. And this game does pretty much the exact same thing. And the ability/weapon wheel for your offhand is very large. So it seems like you'll be unlocking a plethora of abilities and weapons. And in the gameplay trailers, we saw a pistol, a fire ability where your hand essentially becomes like a flamethrower. And we also saw a two-handed rifle, which makes me wonder if there will be other melee weapon options and if any will be two-handed, like in other Souls-likes. Also, due to the foggy and smoky battlefield and the mutated soldiers, there's a survival horror feel to this game that I'm also really enjoying. And just the additional coverage for this game that I've seen so far has increased my interest in it exponentially. I went to Steam and I've requested to be included in the playtest coming soon. And I hope that I get in because this game looks good. It comes sometime next year in 2026. So what did you think of it? I don't know if you had the time to check out any of the gameplay, but I know you saw the trailer.
I checked out a little bit of the gameplay, not much. And I'm kind of in the same boat as you are. Where it's like, I wasn't sure about it at first, but now I'm like, it's not something I would play myself, but definitely I would watch someone play this, like with glee. Because, like I said, I'm not really into Souls-likes. I've really tried. They're too hard for me. But I'm probably going to force my girlfriend to play this for me. Because it looks like it's up her alley, and it saves me the trouble of having to play a Souls-like.
Yeah, this looks very exciting. Yeah, but next we have Clair Obscur. Yes, another Clair Obscur game is coming. Expedition 33 is one of the stories that we want to tell in this franchise, teases director. This is coming from Vicky Blake at IGN. Guilherme Broche says Expedition 33 is just one story in the wider Clair Obscur franchise. The team already envisions future entries, meaning the series is far from over. Clair Obscur is the franchise name. Expedition 33 is one of the stories that we want to tell in this franchise, director Guilherme Broche told Mr. Matty Plays on YouTube. Exactly what it will look like and what the concept will be is still too soon to announce. But what is sure is that this is not the end of the Clair Obscur franchise. And if that wasn't quite obvious enough for you, he also specifically talked about this process for when he writes sequels, leaving us with little doubt that a follow-up game is on the way. So yeah, I, of course, will not say too much because I don't want to spoil this game because I know you will love it when you finally get around to playing it. But to anyone who played it, this was very obvious once you got to Act 3 of the game. It was so very clear once you got through like the beginning section of Act 3. It's like, oh, there's going to be more. This is a franchise. Clair Obscur is the franchise name. Expedition 33 is this game. And I have no doubt that it will have a lot of the same gameplay systems in terms of turn-based combat with dodging and parrying, as well as the Picto and Lumina system. but they'll probably be named something other than Pictos and Luminous because that was very specific to this game. Like, I don't think they're suddenly going to make a first-person shooter in this franchise or like a hack and slash or anything like that. I think it's still going to be a very similar style of RPG, just set in a different world. Whether or not it'll be like Final Fantasy, where none of the games connect, or if they'll make things connect, we'll have to wait and see. If I had to guess, without spoiling things, I think there will be clear connections, but maybe not direct ones, because the door's
that would be nice.
kind of been left open for that with the way the story ended up going. But yeah, I hope you haven't gotten spoiled or anything from that game, because you got to go into that game blind. Good.
Not one thing.
You continue to avoid spoilers, because this is a game that you have to go in knowing nothing.
That.
Other than the bare bones. Like, it's like the story's incredible. But yeah, I'm excited for this. I'm excited to see what they do. And just this style of RPG is really fun. And hopefully this also inspires more like it. And so next, Sony is reportedly planning a Nintendo Switch-style PlayStation 6 portable. This is coming from Andy Robinson at Video Games Chronicle. In a new video, MLID shares specific technical specifications for the PS6 handheld, which will reportedly release alongside a traditional, more powerful PlayStation 6 home console, which it says is based on up-to-date documentation from graphics partner AMD. Notably, Moore's Law says it's seen multiple documents that directly call out that the planned PlayStation 6 portable can be docked like a Nintendo Switch, and claims that it will be capable of playing games natively at power exceeding that of the base PlayStation 5 when docked. They then get into some tech specifications that I don't understand enough to include. But they also say Moore's Law speculates, based on specifications costs, that the PS6 handheld could retail for around $500 and release in late 2027. As I'm sure it doesn't surprise me, it probably doesn't surprise you, that PlayStation is going to make another handheld after the success of the Switch and now the Switch 2.
Right.
The Switch has changed the game, and now both PlayStation and Xbox are trying to kind of like follow their lead in very different ways. Xbox is making a dedicated handheld more similar to something like the Steam Deck, and now it seems like PlayStation is making a hybrid. We've talked about before how PlayStation completely dropped the ball with the Vita and just gave up on it, giving Nintendo the opportunity to just completely take over and change the handheld space. And now handhelds can't just be handheld. They have to be hybrid. They also have to be able to be docked and played on your TV in some form or fashion. And my hope is that this new PlayStation handheld is the equivalent of the Xbox Series S. And some of these rumors, some other articles I've read, and tweets I've seen based on those various articles, seem to be leading towards that, where the PlayStation handheld will be a cheaper and less powerful version of the main console, the PlayStation 6, but can play the exact same games. This would offer a cheaper SKU for consumers and force PlayStation Studio devs to make scaled down versions of their games alongside third-party, devs who are already doing that for Xbox and Nintendo. And if, all of these devs are already working at those two different scales everywhere, it'll just make it easier overall for those devs to always work at those scales. Because right now they've been struggling. There's been a lot of reports of devs hating to develop for the Xbox Series S because they then have to try and scale it up for the X, or vice versa. And now I wouldn't be surprised if we start hearing the exact same thing about the Switch, about people hating to having to develop for the Switch. If it becomes the norm that there is a lower spec console for every single one of the major players in the console field, then it would, I think, make it easier for the devs, because they'll realize, okay, we now have to build systems to work this way going forward. And I would only hope that would make things easier on them. But yeah, what do you think of this PlayStation 6 portable?
I like the idea of it. I would buy it, honestly, if it's like I I guess it doesn't have to be significantly cheaper than the PlayStation 6, but if it's like cheap enough where it's like it's a viable option and it plays all the same games and stuff, I would consider it.
Yeah,
Doubly so because like
especially since like if it's coming in a couple years, like next year's 2026, if it's coming in 2027, and you only just got a PS4 and you have a PC and you're just like at the point where you're at, there's no good reason for you to get a PS5. You're better off
yeah,
waiting for the PS6. So either
for sure.
you wait for the PS6 and you get the PS6, or you wait for this lower spec version that's cheaper, assuming it doesn't come out the exact same day as the PS6. You wait for that to come out and then you get that.
Yeah.
Reportedly
It just
the price tag is going to be $500, but I can only guess that was the price tag before the election. And now, after everything that's happened, I do not see this being less than $600 at the least. Like, I expect this to be $600 at the very lowest. And the PS6 is probably going to be like $700. But yeah, what else were you going to say?
I think it has a lot of potential. So I hope that they actually do go through with it. That would be really nice.
Yeah, I'm thinking like, would I get this? Because it would be. I struggle to say a waste of money to get both. Because in my mind, right, it's like, okay, I don't travel enough to make a portable console, I guess, worth it, for lack of a better term. Like, I have my laptop, my gaming laptop. Whenever I go back out to Atlanta to visit my family, I'm going to bring my Switch. I'm going to bring my gaming laptop. I can use my gaming laptop to record the podcast, assuming that maybe it just happens to come upon a time where we have to record the podcast and to play games. And then, of course, I have my Switch to be a Switch. But there's no portable version of my PlayStation to bring with me. Instead, my brother has a PlayStation, so I can just play his PlayStation and log into my account. But but like, yeah, having a portable PlayStation to take with me when I travel would be cool. But again, I don't travel enough to make it worth it, so I would probably just get the regular one. So I've been playing Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, the remake. It released on the 28th of what's that month called? August. It's still August. Technically, today is the last day. Yeah, I got it physically on PS5 because it's not my favorite in the franchise, but it's the best. Considered the best by most, and my very favorite video game franchise of all time. And as of now, I can say that I own every numbered mainline game in the Metal Gear Solid franchise. I'm waiting for that Mass Collection Volume 2 to have Peace Walker on it. But otherwise, I own them all physically. I have 4, and then I have Mass Collection where it has the first 3 on it, and I have 5. And now I have this. So yeah, it is fun. It's a good game. It's Metal Gear Solid 3. Metal Gear Solid 3, like I said, most people consider it the best in the franchise. I, of course, just love the franchise as a whole, and I just missed stealth games. I haven't played a stealth game in a minute, or pure stealth game. There are plenty of games that give you the option for stealth, but it's the first pure stealth game I've played in a long time, so it's been very fun. It is an unfortunately faithful remake, but the OG game is a good game, so it's also a very good game. But it is very clearly dated in a way that I wish that it wasn't. But before I go on my usual tirade, let's talk about the positives. Like I said, I missed proper stealth action games. I've decided to do a non-lethal run on hard mode for my first playthrough, and it is providing the right amount of challenge and forcing me to play even more stealthily than I usually do, because you only have really 2 non-lethal options at the beginning of the game. You have a tranq pistol and your hands. That's it. Later on, you can unlock a tranq sniper rifle by beating a boss non-lethally, but that's over like halfway through the game. And I'll be happy to get it. But otherwise, I'm stuck with a gun with a suppressor that can break, and there's a limited number of them. So once the suppressor breaks on the tranq gun, it's much harder to sneak around and take out guards from a distance without alerting them. And if I get into a firefight, I can't do much damage with my hands or the tranq gun because I'm not trying to kill him. So things become difficult. And last night, when I was playing, the suppressor broke. It broke it, and then I got to the next area. It broke before a boss fight. And then in the boss fight, I didn't need it, obviously, so I'm just shooting. And then There's another boss fight directly after that, damn near. And then I'm in a new area, and this area just happens to be so specifically a horrible time for me to not have a suppressor on my trank gun. And it got to the point to where I almost was like, I might just murder these people because I was starting to get upset because it was so hard to do it without killing them. Um,
Right.
and I just had to go, you know what? I'm just going to have to go loud. There's no way to get past these people without getting caught, without taking them out from a distance. So I'm just going to have to go loud. So I went in loud and just knocked them all out and then ran to the next room. And when you go from room to room, the alert's still active. So I go into that room. I think the alert went off, like it went away. And then I went and tried to sneak up somebody, got caught, and I was like, fuck it. Knocked them all out. In Snake Eater, you can change like your camo to better blend into certain surfaces in the jungle. And
Ooh, sick.
I bought the tactical edition, they call it, which comes with a bunch of additional costumes. And one of them
Mhm.
is like I forget what they call it, but it's like a suit of armor basically. So you take less damage and you heal faster. So I just put that on and just started punching people. And knocking them all out. And then I finally got past that area, and that's where I left off. Because
Gotcha.
I was just like, I don't have a suppressor. And then I did find a suppressor literally after I knocked them all out.
Damn.
I knocked them all out and then found the suppressor. And I was like, thank God, yes. Now in this next area, I don't have to do that. And this is going to sound messed up. But part of the reason my suppressor broke is because I was tranquilizing some dogs because they had like hunting dogs. And then I realized that killing the dogs doesn't count towards killing enemies. So I'm sorry to those dogs, but they're dead now. I'm not wasting my trank suppressor on dogs. You're getting the full lethal shots to the head, to that dome piece. Them dogs are done. They're all great dames too. So RIP my nigga Scooby Doo, because I'm killing these dogs. But yeah, this game is undoubtedly a good time. But on to the thing that I've said a million times at this point. But I wish that this game was given the Resident Evil treatment and completely remade from the ground up. Because this feels more like a super high quality remaster than a remake. There are plenty of great quality of life changes that modernize the game's menus and controls, but it's literally the exact same game. And if that's all they were going to do, why do it at all? They literally just released the Master Collection with the first 3 games on it. And so why not just upgrade those instead? According to Michael Huber from Easy Allies, who interviewed the devs, this game is for the fans, they say, and it's a way to revive the franchise from the dire straits that it's in now. And it's like, if it's for the fan, they said it was for new fans specifically, not for the fans, like the existing fans, but for brand new fans. And if it's for new fans, why not give it the Resident Evil 2 treatment? I feel like keeping it so faithful isn't for the fans, isn't for the new fans. That's a way to appease older fans out of fear of messing up. If things are so dire for this franchise, I think that a remake that also changes the level design and adds new dialogue where necessary without completely changing the story would have been the way to go. As the game is currently, the game feels like an old game, even with all the upgrades. And that's a shame. At least, assuming they make more remakes, which I hope they will, with Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2, they'll have no choice but to make changes. And with Metal Gear Solid 4 and Peace Walker, those are modern enough, because Peace Walker, it was 4 and then Peace Walker came out after 4, just before 5. Those are modern enough that they don't need to be changed significantly anyway. So I imagine the next few remakes that they do, or the next 4 remakes they do, are going to be more remakes. They're going to be different. And if I had to guess, the next one is probably going to be Peace Walker, if they're going to go chronologically, because that story takes place just before Metal Gear Solid 5. They could just skip it and just decide to do all the mainline games, so they can go from this to 1 to 2 and then to 4. They're not going to remake 5. That game doesn't need to be remade. I've played that game a couple months ago. That game's perfectly fine the way it is. Despite my complaints, like I talked about at the beginning, I'm having a good time, and I hope that it does well, so that we can get more substantial remakes. I don't know if your partner's into stealth games, but I was like, if you aren't enjoying playing Metal Gear, you could watch them play it.
I was gonna say, it's not a thing if I don't enjoy Metal Gear. I really do like it. I'm just really bad at it. So I think if I really like buckle down and actually try now that I've gotten used to it a little bit more and stuff like that, I think I'll have a better time with it.
Yeah, but yeah, Snake Eater's fun. I'm gonna be playing it later. It's a good time. And hopefully this does begin the process of reviving the series so that we can get more remakes at the very least. If not, some brand new games, which would be awesome. But yeah, that's all I have.
Same here.
I'm Dijon. You can find my ads above me. Ayer's ad above them. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel if you want to see more storytelling content, and to click the notification bell so that you're notified when we post. Peace.
See ya.